Today we're going to be breaking down my Dan cosplay. Hey everybody, my name is Corp Cosplay. I am a cosplayer in the Southern Ontario area, and today we're going to be doing a breakdown of my Dan cosplay from Street Fighter. I've always wanted to do a Street Fighter cosplay, and I like Ryu and Ken, but I felt Dan was such a fun character, and so many Street Fighter fans absolutely hate him, but it's such a fun character to do, and I'm going to go through a breakdown of the cosplay and how I put it all together. So first, the main part of the cosplay is the gi and the pants. These are just purchased. They were not pink when I got them though. Those were actually, that was just a white gi that I dyed. You can get what's known as RIT synthetic dye. You can get it in a variety of colors. You can get them at Walmart. You can get it at Michael's and stuff like that. I dyed it. I dyed it in 2 big baths of it. The first one was very, very rose pink. It was like a very, very light pink. I had to do it a second time to get that nice, strong pink in the gi. But overall, that's all you really had to do. The only other thing I had to do was chop up the sleeves, because most gis have full sleeves. I chopped up the arms and ripped them up a little bit with what I usually have is a turkey cutter. So you have those automatic turkey cutters that have the blades that go side by side to carve the turkeys. I have one of those that I've used on cosplay over the years, and that's really good at shredding up your sleeves and stuff to make them a little more worn. But other than that, that is the main part of the gi. The only other part about the gi that's very important is the emblem. So we have the wording here, we have the wording on the back. I kind of had to figure out a way to do this because obviously Dan's a rare character and no one has just photos of the full detail. So I took a couple reference photos. I made a template out of it for both the chest and the back, and I just got some white fabric paint and went in and painted them in. I tried using a Cricut cutter, and the Cricut cutter just it didn't adhere properly. I was having pieces pull off, so the white paint just worked way better. Next would be the gloves. The gloves are just MMA gloves. You can pick these up at different sports stores. They are originally black. I used a special kind of paint on them. It is a paint with some latex in it to allow it to bend. It is still cracking. It is not absolutely perfect, but that is what I've used for it. It's lasted the past couple years. I just went over it a couple times. I do have to do touch-ups with it every now and then. But you definitely have to get something that has a little bit of latex in it, because if you just use pure acrylic, it will crack as soon as you move it. And because they're gloves, even though they're mostly on here, you will be moving your hands a lot more than you probably imagine. Next, probably the biggest pain in the butt is the wig. Dan's hair is actually stupidly complicated because it is a long black ponytail, which is fine, but he also has this strand of hair at the front that is sort of his iconic look. The problem is trying to get a couple strands to sit up like that without going nuts. I have used probably 4 different types of glue to get it to stay like that. I was originally going to do a wire, but it just didn't look right because I couldn't get the hair to wrap around it. It literally just looked like I had a wire. So yeah, I think I've used hot glue. I've used super glue. I've used just glue from aerosol spray for your hair, everything to get that to hold. And usually every time I get that cosplay out, that is the one thing I have to fix before I take it out and actually showcase it. The last part of the cosplay that I think is really cool, but I am going to have to make some tweaks for it for the next time I bring it out because it is a little bit of a pain in the butt, and that is the fireball. Usually, if you're a fan of Street Fighter, you know Ryu and Ken have giant fireballs, but Dan has a very, very tiny fireball. So I went out and looked for one online that I could 3D print. And Kirby Downey on My Mini Factory, I think it's called. I'll put the link in the description. That is the fireball I've used. It is specific. I like this one because he built the fireball, but then there's like a channel that goes into your wrist and it holds onto your wrist with a strap. It works. I use PLA for the main ball, but then I've just used TPU, the flexible 3D filament, for the wrist strap. It does kind of pull on your wrist a bit and sort of gives it a bit of an abrasion. So I'm gonna have to modify it a little bit going forward, but it does work pretty well. The 3D print works very well. It looks really cool coming out of your hand. The one thing you are gonna notice though that I didn't realize is I had it on my right hand and I'm right-handed, and it became very frustrating after a while walking around a convention that my dominant hand had a giant fireball in it. So if you are going to make a cosplay using this fireball or anything like this, make sure to put it in your non-dominant hand so it's not always, your main hand is free to use and do things at the convention. And other than that, the only other part of the cosplay is the shoes, and those are just simple, I don't know what you call them, sling sandals. He usually walks around in bare feet. I'm not walking around in bare feet, just the regular sandals that you can get. I picked mine up from Dollarama. They lasted a couple years. I'm probably going to invest in some new ones that have a little more life into them. But yeah, simple sandals works. And that's kind of it. That is Dan to a T. There's a little bit of eyebrow makeup I do, but you don't have to do any of that. That's just a little extra. But overall, that's how I built the cosplay. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you have. And if you like this video and you like this cosplay breakdown thing, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button, share it with your friends. And I'm going to be back with some more videos about some closet cosplays, some stuff that I built, and a whole lot more in the future. I hope you enjoyed it. Take care. We'll talk soon.